Apple recently had their World Developer Conference, and they went over all the new things that are releasing iOS and iPad in the next year or so. And they had a lot to show off this year. First off, all the leaks about Siri are correct. Siri will no longer be a bumbling idiot. At least that's what we hope. Siri is now utilizing large language models, so stuff like ChatGPT. So in theory, Siri should know some things about you, remember some things you talked about before, and overall understand you a lot better when you talk about things and ask Siri to do stuff, which has always been an issue with the iPhone. Siri has always been notoriously lobotomized. So this is definitely a welcome improvement, assuming it all works. I would be surprised if Siri didn't work that well, because this side of large language models talking is generally pretty good now. It has issues with getting things right and having facts on hand, but if you just needed to remember something you said, it's not the worst. So hopefully this leads to Siri not being dumb. They're also adding generative AI features for rewriting and summarizing and smart replying. This is all just writing stuff for you, which is like whatever. Apps like Grammarly have done this forever. This is not really anything new. I do seriously question though when we're gonna give up on like email etiquette and workplace etiquette when you're emailing your boss or whatever, because I feel like if you're outsourcing emails to an AI to write to your boss to have the correct tone, there's no point in even going through the AI. We might as well just talk candidly instead of just going through an AI layer. What is the point? I always thought this aspect was pretty dumb. And personally, if I'm talking to someone, I would be pretty off-put if everything I was getting from them was AI written and it was just like one sentence they were writing and an AI was filling in the rest. I would not feel like I had a good relationship with that person if they're using AI to talk to me. I'm not a huge fan of this, but it's not the worst thing in the world. It's whatever. And they also showed off this app called Image Playground, which makes you combine images or turn a sketch into a full image and has 3 different styles. This thing looks kind of gimmicky, but at the same time, it's also Apple, and I feel like a lot of people might really like this, but who knows? I think it's kind of gimmicky, but I could be wrong on that. Maybe it'll take off and be super successful. What is impressive about this feature, though, is the fact that it runs locally. Like, that's actually surprising. It is impressive that the iPhone is fast enough to run Image Playground locally. Like, that's pretty cool. And Apple also showed off Genmoji, which is exactly as it sounds. You can generate emojis now. Now, I know for a fact that this feature is going to be a massive hit or miss because it relies on AI generating emojis that don't look horrible. I'm sure Apple tweaked their model a lot to make sure it doesn't do anything crazy, but something crazy will probably slip through because these models are really finicky, and something horrible looking will definitely slip through because apparently it already has. This was apparently created by Genmoji, and it doesn't look great, but that's about what I would expect for something like this. Apple definitely rushed this out the door because if they were planning to do this for a long time, they wouldn't have been working with OpenAI or Google because none of those companies would ideally work together at all. So yeah, Genmoji's like a whatever feature. I'm sure some people will use it and it might get some traction. I don't know if it's gonna really be used a lot though. We'll see. But something that will be used a lot is natural language search because this is actually a useful feature. You can look up anything on your iPhone using natural language, which is super useful. Finding images on your iPhone and being able to type something in like movie theater or screen or whatever and having images come up is super useful. So this feature being improved is even better, and I have no real gripes with them making this feature better. This feature is just a good feature. But Apple did introduce some very questionable features, and those features are recall-like features. Stuff that's like Microsoft Recall that lets you look at your device from previous dates and time. Now, this is not exactly like Recall. It seems a little bit less invasive, and it does seem more secure, which is very important because as we all know, Microsoft Recall is a joke. People figured out it was super easy to steal your stuff within 1 day of it being in beta. It wasn't even a full release yet. When it comes down to security and Apple making sure other people don't get your information, I would trust them more than Microsoft. I don't trust them, but I trust them more than Microsoft. So on that front, I'm sure this feature is more secure. Now, is Apple looking through your data? They'll say they aren't because of course they'll say that. And I don't know for sure if they are or not. I'm just saying I don't trust them not to. All these companies think that if they record you while you use your device, they can train an AI to use their device, which is very valuable. So I don't see these companies passing up on the opportunity to get that data. So I am skeptical that Apple is not doing something with that data. But I am confident that if they are doing something with that data, they're gonna do a really good job of keeping it secret because Apple's whole thing is privacy. So if they were doing that and weren't disclosing it, it would be a big scandal. Microsoft, on the other hand, does not have a reputation to uphold. Their reputation is that they're bad. So Apple has more to lose if they get caught. Again, I'm not saying they are collecting data. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they are, and it makes sense why they would. But overall, I would trust Apple more than Microsoft, but that's not saying much. And to address some of these privacy concerns, Apple has introduced private cloud compute because some of these AI tasks have to get sent to a server to get done. Your device is just not powerful enough to do it. So Apple will be using servers to process that data to send back to your phone. But your phone will not connect to the server unless it is Apple approved. So Apple does seem to be taking privacy really seriously with this. So I definitely would trust them more than Microsoft, who did nothing to assure people that privacy was an important thing playing with recall, but it is still a mega corporation. So I will believe it when I see it. And all these features are in beta. So if you do see anything pop up, know that it is in beta, and Apple actually does use the beta as like an actual beta. They don't do what games do, which is release a beta like a week before release when we all know that it's basically the final game, and it's not really going to improve that much. This beta will last a good amount of time, and I'm sure Apple will be improving all these features during the beta. So if you do see any of these features being bad, just know it's in beta, and it will probably improve, or at the very least, it should improve. It might not, but it should. And in related news to all this, Elon Musk got really angry at Apple for working with OpenAI for some of their AI features. So yeah, the generative stuff like rewrite, summarize, and smart reply, those utilize OpenAI, and Elon Musk is not happy about it. He's so unhappy about it that he threatened to pull Twitter off the iPhone if Apple and OpenAI work together. And I think he should pull Twitter off the iPhone, because not only would society immediately improve, Twitter would die, because most people use Twitter on mobile, and most people in the USA have iPhones, and most people in foreign countries don't use Twitter. It is mainly a US thing. So yeah, Elon Musk, go ahead. Pull Twitter off the iPhone. Do it, you coward. Okay, realistically, Elon Musk is not going to do anything because he's being a piss baby, and this news is completely irrelevant and nothing will happen. But besides all the AI stuff, Apple also added the iPad calculator. Finally, it took them literally like decades. So if you have an iPad, you now have a calculator, which is great. Phenomenal even. Apple also introduced theme colors to iOS. So now you can have themes on your phone, which is something Android had for years. You can also finally arrange the apps the way you want on the homepage, which is also something Android had for years. And the most surprising thing with the entire event, the new Assassin's Creed game is going to be on iPad and Mac. I already didn't expect Mac, and then it also being on the iPad is kind of crazy. So yeah, if you have a Mac, congratulations, you have games now. You can also shake your head at Siri to tell her no if you're using your AirPods now, which is also pretty good. Now you don't have to talk to Siri in public, which is something I would never do in my life. I will always pull out my phone regardless, and if I can't, and I need to talk to Siri, I'm just not going to talk to Siri. I'll wait until I can pull out my phone. I'm not talking to Siri in public. So this is a plus in my book. And you can also exchange money with other iPhone users by holding your phones close together and like passing cash. That's the best way to describe it. That's like what they're doing. So that's kind of cool. And one of the coolest features that I can't use because I don't have a Mac, the ability to mirror your iPhone on your Mac. This is just a nice feature to have. It's just cool when screens are interchangeable and it's super convenient. Like there's a lot of instances I have where I wish I could just drag files off my phone onto my computer. And now if I had a Mac, I could do that, but I'm not getting a Mac. So if you have a Mac, congratulations, you can do this now. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and the Vision Pro's coming to more countries, and it got a bunch of new stuff. But to be honest, I don't care about it, and you probably don't care about it either, because how many people bought that headset? Oh, right, dozens. That's right, dozens. Overall, this is a pretty good Apple event. Assuming the updates all work well, which they usually do with Apple, the iPhone should be a lot better and actually pretty even with Android, which is not something that's been the case for a while. Like, yeah, the iPhone's more social, I guess, if you own one, but Android's had better features for a while, okay? And now they're almost even. And to be clear, I have an iPhone, in case one of you's malding in the comments. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter @spatnz1, and click the Android down, check out more of my content, and have a good one.